that conclude your report?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so hopefully I distributed my report, I believe, on Saturday. Hopefully people got a chance to look at that. Relative to planning, conservation, and development, we're still finalizing the pictures and things like that. What I would, I regret that you guys don't have a hard copy. What I would be able to do with the new website perhaps is put a non-final formatted version that would have all of the text, all of the, basically everything but the pictures. We can put it on the website.
Is the link is no longer active?
The share file one that I gave you?
Yeah.
Well, that's been corrected, I think, the version we worked on.
Because if we could send that out to the commission?
Yeah, I can send the basically everything but the pictures version to the commission.
Why don't we
And
do
we can
that?
also put it on the, but there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to have that at your, access to it, so you can reference the specific text.
Do you have a target date for when the,
I hope this month, my graphics person was out for a couple of weeks unexpectedly, so that pushed me back a little bit, but
when you say this month, you think that by February 1st, more or less, that we probably will see this?
I would hope we have something to look at before the next meeting.
The
And then we can talk
content.
about, the content's done, the content's there. It's just a matter of something beautiful that you want to
Okay.
carry around with you to class. So we'll work with Julie to distribute a link, and then we can put it on the website. There are two issues in my report that I would request a little bit of additional input. One being the two zoning applications that were put in that we're going to discuss a little bit later in the agenda. I know the public hearings have both been extended, but if you would have a brief staff level guidance on those. It's my understanding from reading the minutes and talking to the staff that the commission or certain commissioners wanted my assistance to work perhaps with the applicants on the applications for the Marina District and the floating zone.
Yes.
And so I would like ideally some specific guidance on exactly to what end I should be working with them. So we can talk about that at that point. The other thing is the proposed grant that I was authorized to pursue, or requested to pursue by this commission at last month's meeting. Met with Bruce Farmer, Chairman Guszkowski, and to kind of identify, try to flesh out the proposal a little bit, and got some input from Chairman Guszkowski and First Selectman Farmer. And what I forwarded in my report is sort of a fleshed out description and justification for why this grant and why Clinton should consider pursuing it, and then sort of a description of the proposed approach for the grant. I don't know if this specific agenda item is the right point to talk about that, but I do need some guidance from planning and zoning if I should be pursuing a full grant application, and if this commission supports the general proposal.
John, I think at this point, we should table that discussion to a later time.
A later point in the same agenda, because it's due before the next meeting.
To a later point.
That's fine. That's what I would hope, but I just didn't know at what point you wanted to, if you wanted to create a new business item or whatever. But some guidance from both this commission and First Selectman.
What was the drop dead date on that? Was it February 4th?
February 4th is the due date. Ideally, we need to have it in a nearly complete form the week before, because the RiverCog meets and we need RiverCog endorsement on it. So we're like 2 weeks out.
That's right, I remember that.
So we can talk about it later. I just don't want to drop it.
Okay.
And the rest of the stuff is in my report. At some point, I have questions about your committee structure, but we can talk about that to the executive committee, apparently.
Yeah, if we could just table that, because I would like to get to item number 3. Old business for review of bylaws.
Well, actually, we've never gotten back to the TOD grant.
Because we were going to talk about it at a later point.
Yeah, well, a later point in the minute, where are we going to
I
talk about
didn't
it?
say a later point in this meeting.
Okay, well, it's due on the 4th of
It
February.
is due on the 4th of February.
What, are we gonna hold a special meeting to discuss it?
No, John's gonna meet with Bruce and myself, as he was asked to do, and come back with his, and we're gonna discuss what Bruce asked him to amend his, kind of go in a different direction.
Can we discuss? I'm
Sure.
just curious as to what the direction was and what different direction that we're looking at for the grant.
The direction was, both Bruce and I agreed, less studies, more shovels in the ground. Specifically, an idea of putting a sidewalk from Madison to Westbrook, as an example, on Route 1.
So you're asking specifically the grant solely to cover that?
No, we were giving him ideas of the direction we would like to see. And when I say we, I mean mostly Bruce, would like to see the grant writing heading in.
Did you propose which of the activities you want to eliminate in order to fund the sidewalk instead?
Nope.
Well, I attended the meeting, and my reading of what we talked about was trying to get something actionable in the way of, because we don't have engineering drawings, there's a lot of things we can't apply for. I thought we talked to John about including, taking some of the elements that came out of this, taking them to the engineering stage, so that we would have something to go for, specific proposals that would go for funding for.
That was also part of the discussion. It was another example of where the grant writing could be heading.
So is there any ideas at all?
Hmm?
Was there any concrete?
John was supposed to get back to Bruce. Bruce was going to review the letter, and Bruce was very surprised that John put it out to all the planning and zoning members for discussion.
What is the path forward here?
On grants,
Yeah, what is...
the only people in this town that can accept a grant
Mhm.
is going to be the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance.
Okay, so
We are advisory as to which direction we would like them to go.
That's not true.
Okay, who else can
We
accept a
can-
grant?
We can't accept a grant, but we can write a grant.
To write a grant.
We can write a grant.
We can make a grant proposal, which then has to be approved by the Board of Selectmen.
Which is.
The initiative can rest in this commission. We've done that in the past.
You've done that in the past, and that's not where the current First Selectman wants to go with it.
I didn't take that at all.
Okay, I met with him today. We can write a grant,
Right.
but it's not our grant. We're simply authoring the grant for the
Correct.
selectmen.
And they choose it if
And
they
then
want.
they choose if they
Right.
want to
If
go.
they want to go.
So I'm just looking that if he's the one that's going to be putting his signature on the bottom line, then I'm going to kind of listen to him as to which direction, with our input. But if he says, listen, I'm not ready to move forward with this, what do you want me to do?
This was a proposal to use our resources, the time of our consulting planner to develop this
Please
proposal.
understand, in his contract, it states that all elected officials may use it.
But who pays for it? Does that come out of our budget?
Yes.
So shouldn't we have,
In his contract, it states that all the elected officials may use them.
then
It
everybody
doesn't-
should pay?
It doesn't state that it's just us.
I'm confused.
Oh, read his contract.
But we hired him, correct? I'm not trying to give our
Correct.
time, Kelly.
Correct.
We hired him, we
I'm assuming that we
renewed
hired him.
his contract, we talked about his contract. So if there's things that this commission, the members, would like to achieve, you know, a certain thing, should we have him doing that work for us?
Let me clarify something, all right? I'm on the Public Works Committee.
I know, you know.
Okay, well, not that you know, okay? But the budget, all right, to the town engineer's consultant is in the DPW's account, and the planning and zoning uses it, and other people use it. But who's in control of it? We are.
That's what you're saying.
So my point is, okay, the budget, okay, that you have here, okay, that somebody else is using, you have no control over them to be using it.
Carl,
Even though you've seen your-
hold on 1 second. Just for the record, no, Alan had to leave his, for a personal matter. I'm going to go ahead and see.
Okay,
uh,
but you can speak to the same thing, you were on a commission, so you
It
know.
is, so, listen, I'm not saying that this body as a whole doesn't get to have a conversation about where we would like some of the grants to go.
I know where the direction of our selectmen, and I support that. But I'm just saying that if some of the members, if the members of this commission see something that they want to, you know, go move forward with and talk to John about, I think that we should have, that we'd be privy to do that and then submit it to, you know, the
Which we
selectmen.
did.
See if the selectman wants to move forward on it. It's up to him.
Right, that's what we did.
That's what he's saying.
And then John went to the selectmen, as we requested he do. But what you want is him to go to the selectmen and then come back and ask us if it's all right.
No.
Well,
That's what we
what's
do it. I
happening
wanted to go to the
That's
selectmen
what's
link.
happening tonight.
Oh,
He went, we asked him to go to the selectmen for this
Okay.
grant.
Right.
He met as a courtesy, I believe as a courtesy, I was there, Alan was there as a courtesy, John was there, and Bruce was there.
It's absolutely up to the selectmen.
But-
moving forward.
I'm not sure Bruce, and I can't speak for him, it going back here wasn't really part of the plan.
Okay.
Like, so we generate this, hey, this is where we'd like to see a grant. Well, we're not gonna have our fingers in that process. I personally, and I'm not the king here, I don't think planning and zoning should be in grant writing business. I think we should be advising, we have the plan of conservation and development, we have a planning committee now, we should be advising the selectmen where we would like grants.
But excuse
To be-
me, the John does our writing, right, correct?
Who does the writing?
Who does the writing? Is it John?
Nobody does the writing right now. Willie used to sit on the floor, Indian style, and write the grants.
That was my whole point, so.
My
I
point,
passed, I really appreciate
my point is this, that as part of his.
I'm glad I amused you on.
It's always been an issue that John works for planning and zoning and nobody else.
No.
It's been brought up that way, that we're in control. It's our budget, he works for us. And when I read his contract, that's not quite the case. And he has met with Willie in the past, the former first selectman, and he's now meeting with the new selectman. And if somebody has a problem with that, I don't have a problem with it, go talk to Bruce.
All right, at this point, are we asking John to write a grant applying for sidewalk installation? Is that?
No, that was just an example of the type of things they wanted to see. More engineering drawings, perhaps, less studies.
So, you asked earlier in the meeting, John, for us to provide you with more direction. So what that says to me is Bruce didn't give it to you, and this grant's gonna die because nobody's giving you direction. Is
Exactly.
that?
That's not precisely true. I think we're running up against timeline, and I am concerned about that. The reason that I should say, after following my meeting with Bruce and Gary, I did revise the scope and resubmitted it to Gary and Bruce last week, I believe, late last week. And then I included it in my activity report because it was a pretty big portion of my activity. for the last month. In terms of guidance and feedback, I wanted, and perhaps it's sort of inappropriate to do so, it did not have a natural slot on the agenda, but I wanted to call out the fact that I had been working on this, that it was a work in progress, and that planning and zoning, ultimately, their support would be important to achieving the grant. So I wondered if planning and zoning was going to intend to support this, perhaps with a letter, perhaps with a resolution, you ought to know what direction the grant is heading in, that's why I brought it. But I have not heard back from Bruce on my second draft.
Okay, and we have in front of us the first draft.
You have in front of you the second draft.
Oh, this is the second.
As part of my report, and you'll note under the item 3 on the second page.
Revised following meeting 1-5, you're right.
Item 3 on the second page of the report, or the draft, I included a number of deliverables, which are specific actionable items, rather than just plans, per the requests that I heard at the meeting. But it's, yeah, again, it's ultimate, at the end of the day, it's the selectmen that need to submit this, it's the selectmen that need to pass a town resolution that they're in favor of it. It's their grant, but it was this commission's initiative.
Anybody need any other further
Well, I'm just
discussion?
wondering what we're asking, or what someone is going to be asking John to do in order to be able to submit this by the deadline.
Like I said, he's working with Bruce, not us. And that's the important part, is that when we give John some direction in terms of grants and where we would like to see them, once he starts that initiative with the selectmen, we're kind of in the back seat. So I believe at this point, it's up to Bruce to respond to John with his, the second draft of the grant. And I'm not going to speak for Bruce. I'm sure you can contact him and see where he is with that. Any other discussion?